I also did want to just highlight this training that I am hosting in June 13th in New York City. And they're called listening labs. It's a methodology of relational mindfulness or mindful listening that is that we've unfolded at organizations, colleges, synagogues across the country to build more community, to deepen listening skills, and to connect people to build more belonging in these communities. It's really replicable system, and we're really proud of it. And I'm hosting a little info session. If you have a community and you're thinking, I wonder if this could be helpful, I'm hosting a little info session very shortly after this sit today. So, and we're going to do a little demo of what we do inside of a listening lab. So Harry just put all that information into the chat. If you can't make it today, sign up and we'll send you the recording and you can watch it at your own leisure. But I hope that you can join us. Okay, switching gears now. Let's talk about this. We're talking about, I want to talk about Netzach, which is this week in the counting of the Omer. This is the week of Netzach. And so perhaps if you tune in every day, you might have heard other teachers speak to different aspects of Netzach. But what really, what I thought of when I thought of it, Netzach means a bunch of things, but I'm going to talk about its role as the meaning is endurance, or like eternity, endurance, and victory. And it's represented by the right foot or the right leg in the kind of Kabbalistic sphere. So that's what the whole week is. And it happens that today is the day of Hod, which means, could mean like gratitude within Netzach, within this form of like enduring, energetic, moving forward energy. So I thought it came to mind a psalm that I want to share with you that I think I'm going to use as the frame for our sit today. So Harry, if you can pull up the psalm and put it into the chat. It's Psalm 50. And what it talks about is it's talking about the kind of fleeting nature of life, the way that life is short. If you're lucky, life is short. You get 80, 90, maybe even, God willing, 100 years. If you're unlucky, life is really, really short. It's shorter than that. And so to me, I don't know about you, but to me, it's all short, too short. And it's like there and it's gone. And so that's where we kind of begin in Psalm 90. It says, you, God, has been a refuge in every generation. So the psalmist is putting counter to this fleeting nature of life. You return humans to dust, return you mortals with what is eternal, with what stands the test of time. So if you can scroll down, Harry, we're still moving through this like fleeting nature. For you, one day is like 1,000 years. So for us, everything matters and we're all stressed and time is going down the hourglass. But in God's point of view, in this eternal Netzach landscape, it's just this depth of time. So you can keep going to the next page. Is there a next page? Yes, wonderful. So if you go to the Psalm 90, line 12, we're asking, please teach us to count our days. And right now in the Omer, the whole Omer period is a literal counting of the days. And in this kind of counting is not to say like, okay, it's Tuesday or it's whatever day of the week. It's to make each day really count. And if you look in here in this little verse 90:12, it says, you have the word here, hoda, which again, it kind of connotes that the root hod, which is, so it's like teach us to make to count each day with gratitude. Translated here as rightly, with like that expansiveness of the heart. So this is beginning this quest to make each day count, to have the meaning of each day be the most important thing. And then if we go down to Psalm 90, to the line 14, satisfy us at daybreak with your steadfast love, that we may sing for joy all our days. So it's another kind of response to the fleetingness and the quickness and the shortness of our life, is that we might feel this sense of satisfaction so deep that we're filled with it. It's joy that's bursting forth out of us all our days, no matter what the length of the days, that each day might have that sense of joy and satisfaction. And then if we continue to the end, this is kind of so sweet to me, because in the face of the fleetingness of life, we might be tempted to say, what does any of it matter? I'm not doing anything. It's a temptation to kind of give up, nihilistic, I'm out. What does it matter? We're here today, we're gone tomorrow. However, this psalm is saying something different. It's saying, it kind of brings us back to the work of our hands. So yes, we want to just enjoy what's here. We want to be grateful for what's here. But I think the thrust of Netzach, the message of Netzach, is to also do, to go out there and create, to use your hands to make things, and to put your work into the world and to unfold in the world as only each of us can do. Our gifts to bring to the world. And we end with this line, please let the work of our hands prosper. Prosper the work of our hands. So that even though it's for a very short period of time, like, let what we do matter. And that's the energy of Netzach. And we're holding the kind of gratitude of Hod within this energy. Okay, so we can kind of take off the psalm now. And sorry, got a little strange in there. So I'd like to now begin to practice with this Netzach energy, that energy of endurance, of staying close to what really matters, and to kind of finding within this time, this little time that we have, our joy, the joy of counting the day, making the day count. So I want to invite you to find a comfortable seat. You can roll your shoulders open. You can give your neck a stretch. You can close your eyes, or you're welcome to keep them softly focused in front of you, and to take a deep breath and release any extra tension, anything extra that you're holding on to that might be willing to be released. Whatever in your life right now could use that enduring energy, that sense of meaning, that prayer to make the work of your hands prosper. You can bring that intention, that kavanah, as we sit now in silence. without a doubt, your mind is going to wander and you're going to get lost in thought during this period. Not a failure, just a part of the practice. And when you notice you're lost, you can bring your attention back to just the rise and fall of your breath, to that netzach, enduring energy, either within you or underneath you, holding you up from the earth. Or perhaps the feeling all around you, the sense of being held in the divine, eternal love. You're feeling a little lost, you can begin by noticing the things that you are grateful for. The hod, right in this moment. You relax into these places of gratitude, into that which is enduring. Your mind has taken you elsewhere. You can just take a moment and notice what's underneath the mind's chatter. This presence, this awareness that was here before we were born, that will be here after we die. Can we soften into it? Can we feel ourselves energized by it? Just this. I want to invite you to create your own psalm or your own intention or prayer in this moment. To remind yourself of what really matters. To remind yourself to align yourself with what endures. To allow yourself to feel that kind of flooded joy that you want to burst and sing. And to make the words of your mouth and your hands, the doings of your hands, prosper in all the ways that matter. If you set an intention in this direction, you can breathe it in, move it all the way through your body. Let it integrate into your day and your week. And when you're ready, you're welcome to open your eyes if they're closed and to bring your attention back together.
Thank you so much, Yael, for beautiful practice to bring us into Shabbat. And we'll seal the practice as we do each day, inviting any of you who are in mourning, observing a yard site, or if it's your custom to join in the mourner's Kaddish to do so. You can put the name or names of anyone you're honoring today in the chat now or after you recite Kaddish. And if you're not reciting Kaddish, we ask you please stay present, support those who are. And if you're doing so, please join me by rising in body or in spirit. Thanks to Harry. There's the words on the screen. And you can, if you're reciting Kaddish, you can unmute at this time. Yit Gadal, Yitadash, Shemei Rabbah, Rabba, Tira, Yamlich Malchut He, B'chayechon, V'yomechon, B'chayei D'chol Beit Yisrael, Bala, Bizman Kariv, Yiru,
Amen.
Yehesh, Shemei Rabbah Mivarach,
Shemei Rabba Mevarach, Shalom
Barach,
Alamaya,
Yishabach, Ba'ar, V'yitamam, V'yitnaseh, Yitadar, V'yitalel, V'yitalal, Shemei D'Kosher, V'Yishu. Mikol Birchata V'Shirata, Yushbechata V'Nechamata, Ta'amiran, Ta'amam, Yehesh Lama Rabba Shemaya, V'Yakol Yisrael, Shalom Yamama, Shalom, Yisrael, Yakol Yoshvei Yisrael,
Amen.
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 And friends, want to thank everyone for joining us today. And if you're leaving us now, wish you a good Shabbos. I'm going to put the link, put the lineup for our teachers for next week in the chat. Another beautiful week of practice. Next week is the week of Hod, of gratitude. Will be our theme running throughout the week. First day of that week is Sunday night and Monday. Also just want to highlight that on Thursday, our sit is going to be co-sponsored by Dorot in New York City, and that will be focusing on a theme related to wise aging, and the sit will be led by Larry Schwartz. And also a week from today is Lag BaOmer, the 33rd day of the Omer, and Rebecca Schisler will be here to help us sit into Shabbat and immerse in some of the themes of that marker in the Jewish calendar. So very much looking forward to all of that. So if you're leaving us now, Shabbat Shalom. Hope to see you next week. And hopefully, if you're not leaving us, you can stay with us. Either continue just to sit with that beautiful guidance from Yael. You can turn the sound off on your device and continue to stay with us and use the container of this community and this time, or join us for conversation. And if you have a question you'd like to ask Yael, please put it in the chat. You can write question all in caps, and I'll keep an eye out. Hopefully work the question into our conversation. Thanks so much, Yael. You know, I'm really always interested when I describe this daily sit. Sometimes people, and each day is a little bit different because we have different teachers all the time, but the format is basically the same. There's a little teaching and then the sit. Sometimes a little sit and then a teaching and then the sit. And the relationship between the teaching and what happens during the sit, sometimes I think is not always so clear, but today was quite clear. And I just want to go into it a little bit more deeply, at least the way I understood it. You know, that line from that Psalm 90, teach us to number our days that we may attain a heart of wisdom. Labav Chachma is like probably one of the most powerful lines in the whole book of Psalms. And it struck me that I was thinking about, okay, so how do we do this in meditation? And I felt like, well, a day is an artificial construct of time. You know, it really means any measure of time, including a moment, a breath, right? Teach us to number these moments. So I was thinking about because it's like pretty much everybody, right? My mind drifts away. And I do find that when people ask to remind me to count breaths or count, that helps. Doesn't solve the problem, but it helps, right? So I found myself during the sitting, forgetting, and then coming back and then going, okay, 1, 2 breaths, 3 breaths. So I wondered how, you would apply that, then I want to move it into this relationship between timelessness and time.
Yeah.
But first of all, just, how do we count our days, count our breaths, count our moments?
Yeah. And the way I found the psalm was because I had that line in my head.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a chant or a song of some kind that maybe somebody posted earlier, but it was in my head from this time of counting the Omer. And it's such a gorgeous practice. Like aside from all of the Kabbalistic, whatever, like all of the deeper meanings,
Right.
just the counting.
Mm-hmm.
It is a mindfulness practice. It's like, oh, we have to pay attention in order to count something.
Right.
And so it's like the breath counting is that same way. Like you can kind of just count in your head, but if you're not matched with the breath, what are you counting?
Mm-hmm.
And it forces you to pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is so rich, like exactly as you're describing it.
Yeah. And the result, and for lack of a better word, is the wise heart.
Yeah.
And then you brought it later to joy, right? And it seems paradoxical because awareness of how fleeting life is, right? How fast it goes. That sounds pretty depressing, not something that yields joy.
Yeah.
But there's something paradoxical about touching into that which is, like you said, enduring, which was really helpful, right? To connect that with Netzach, enduring, that, just was, will be. That is comforting. It's comforting, and it's more than comforting, right? To remind ourselves that we are part of something eternal. And the only way to connect with that is not by trying to wrap our arms around eternity, but by being in the moment, in the second. And the other thing that came up for me was thinking about Shabbat. I was thinking, this is perfect for Shabbat. This is really what Shabbat is. It's about immersing in or numbering a day in order to feel, connect with the eternal. I was thinking about the little phrase from Heschel's book on the Sabbath, where he describes Shabbat. He says, eternity utters a day, which when I first read that, I thought, what the hell does that mean? But now I think I have a glimmer of this idea that timelessness expresses itself through time. If we pay attention to time, if we really pay attention to time and enter into it, right, as you dive into it. really powerful. So this was like so perfect for Shabbat, for getting ready for Shabbat.
Yeah, it's like a little portal
Hmm.
where, the day goes like this. And then, like, when you either have a moment of practice or the week goes like this, and when you drop into Shabbat,
Right.
it's you've experienced the true, like, relativity of time because, it just expands with attention. So it's not that stressful time's coming to get me feeling, at least that I will walk around with every day, like,
Right.
not enough,
There's
scarce.
not enough time, right?
Exactly.
Um, I'm going to, somebody mentioned, I don't know if I imagine you know it, but maybe you don't. I don't know, beautiful musical version of that line by Yitzhak Husband's Hankin, Treasure Each Day, which I put the link to that in the chat for people. Um, I will share. I don't know, like if you let's talk a little bit about Shabbat. I think like you, I have kids, you have little kids. I have kids who also still are older, but let's just say not always so promoting mindfulness. Um, um, I really try, I think, when I'm lighting candles to take a moment to focus on exactly what you're teaching today, right?
Mm,
Like to really be cognizant of entering into timeless time.
mm.
Um, is there something that you do? Is there like, do you have any practice around that?
It's funny that you say that because I think I come in and out. But recently I've been starting to, when I go to sleep at night,
Hmm.
my normal way when I go to sleep at night is to to like be so sad about like where did the day go? I didn't do all the things I was supposed to do, and just like a lot of regret or like sadness or like how is it another day over? And so I'm trying to shift this, particularly this is very of the moment for me because I want it to just be like, okay, can I reflect on what I'm grateful for? I think there's a really close relationship
Yeah, you
between
did that, and you brought that in.
and
You put
Hod.
that in. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Like in the Kabbalistic sphere, Hod is the left foot and Netzach is the right foot. So they kind of work together.
Mhm.
And so to me, like noticing the gratitude shifts that kind of scarce feeling or that self beating up regretful feeling and being like, okay, these are the things that I'm grateful for from today.
Yeah,
Then it's like that practice of being like, just every moment, it's its own moment. This whole thing is a construct. So that's been my most recent practice.
yeah, yeah. That's beautiful. I mean, I guess to me, it's kind of pointing to how much of Jewish ritual around the day, I don't, I guess for us, it feels second nature to say, yes, of course, it's a mindfulness practice. Like, when you go to sleep, waking up in the morning with Modani or Modani, of, being grateful, saying, oh, wow, that is counting the day, right? I'm waking up saying, all right, the day is beginning. I'm grateful for it. I didn't like, it was not a given that I was going to wake up,
Right.
and here I am. What am I going to do with this day?
Right.
And it's a wonder that I have this day, and there will be a time that won't be there, right? Um, and it's just a reminder of the preciousness of it. Anyway, everything you said.
Yeah.
Um,
It makes me think of one other thing. A while ago there's a meditation center in New York City called the Interdependence Center, and they sold t-shirts, a Buddhist center, but they sold these t-shirts that said, "This body will be a corpse." And every time I saw people in it, I was always like, oh God, like, why are you reminding me? And then as I thought about it and as it kind of like went through my mind, and I would be like, actually, it's empowering. Actually, like at first it's depressing, but then it's like, actually, it's like, oh, all right, let's get down to business. Like, let's do like the
yeah,
thing that matters.
it's a Yom Kippur. It's like
Super Yom Kippur.
it's a Yom Kippur greeting, right?
Right.
I was thinking on the back of the t-shirt they should have "Don't worry, be happy." Like with that, we have to send that. We have to suggest that to our friends at the Shomer Collective for that one. Um, let's take a couple of minutes. I think I inadvertently called it learning labs instead of listening labs. I don't know. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I said listening labs. I thought,
All good.
It's not
Learning
very
will be,
different. It's not a learning lab, it's a listening lab. So why don't you say a little bit about what a listening lab is?
yes, so it's a guided space of structured sharing with, prompts and activities that enable people to go deeper with one another. So it's not just like your surface level icebreakers.
Mhm.
Actually teaching a method and having all these materials to allow people to have deeper connections and to share, to unburden themselves. And so we have this method that we'll teach, and also we have all of these prompts, an entire hundreds of activities that you can use in your community to make these deeper connections real and to bring mindfulness through the process of relationships with each other.
Right. All right. So your demo is in 45 minutes or so, right? So maybe we can, I'm gonna put the link back in there.
It's there.
People gets in there. Great. Okay. Excellent. Yeah. Okay. Always some beautiful observations and comments here. Um, uh, Timelessness expresses itself through time if we pay attention. Did I say that?
You
Come
did.
on. It's just another variation on this theme. But I do want to, I, as I'm getting older too, I'm thinking, and you do start thinking much more about mortality at a certain point. I just feel like this is such a powerful theme um, to when the fear creeps in or the sadness about that,
Mhm.
to remember that in any given moment, it's not an escape or a spiritual bypass from it. So like, well, that is all true. It is, it is sad that life is finite
Mhm.
and that we lose people and that, people lose us. And it's also true that there is an infinite, timeless, enduring, like you said, dimension that we can tap into, and that changes everything, So
Right.
thanks, Yael. As always, really a gift to wind up our week in this beautiful way today. So thanks.
So thank you. Such a pleasure.
All right, everyone. Harry, thank you so much for holding our space. Everyone for being here. Hope to see you all on Monday with Susan Leiter, and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat shalom.